I've always been interested in arranging and playing different instruments. So there's kind of three pillars that we draw from a lot. And one of them is kind of Afrobeat and diasporic traditional African music. Another important pillar of the music is jazz. And then the other side is kind of electronic hip hop and dance music.
You got the Ethiopian jazzman Mulatu Astatke.
Yeah.
And there's also Tony Allen, the Afrobeat drum legend.
Yeah, on the same record, yeah.
On the same record.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
must have been really interesting ones. Lots of learnings, eh? All right, these are our Lolla India 2026 specials. We're getting you to meet all the bands who are coming into India and really going to blow the roof off over those couple of days. Very pleased to welcome Tom Excell. He's guitar player, producer with Nubiyan Twist, a London-based genre-fluid music collective. Tom, wonderful to see you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Tom, is this going to be your debut trip to India, or have you traveled before as a tourist? I wonder.
No, this is the debut trip for most of the band as musicians and as tourists. So we're super excited. We've been inspired a lot by Indian culture from the very start of the band in Leeds. So it's going to be a really great experience. We can't wait for it.
Now, I wonder if Nubiyan Twist had something to do with one of your primary vocalists, Nubia Brandon, or
yeah,
is there another? Yeah, so I'm just curious to know the naming, the christening. So if you could take me through that story.
Yeah, so the band started in Leeds College of Music, and it was really just for fun. We were a bunch of friends hanging out. I'd always wanted to do live music that mixed Afrobeat in a kind of big band Fela Kuti style, but trying to bring in some contemporary sounds as well with hip hop and electronic dance music and jazz. A lot of the band were studying on the jazz course. There was a big West Indian community in Leeds as well. So we were going out to a lot of dub nights, and that kind of UK sound system culture also felt like an important part of the blueprint of the band. And yeah, it just started out as a bit of fun, really. And it's crazy to think 15 years later, I'm talking to you, planning a trip to India to play our music to the people of Mumbai. So it's a dream come true, really.
All right, let's move to the set list. What's it going to be at Lollapalooza, India? Are you going to go carefully planning this one? Is it going to be only the hits? Are you going to, jam? I don't know. Take us through the set list.
I think we are going to plan some new material. We're going to play some of the hits. There's always an element of improvisation kind of baked into the way we play music. We like to shine a spotlight on all the individual musicians and really celebrate the fact that it's a large collective, and it's quite rare these days with a lot of the economic constraints touring to have a large band. So we really want to show off the fact we've got a big horn section, percussion, keys, electronics, live dubs, BVs, vocals, percussion, drums. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. So obviously we're going to plan certain songs, but also we really want to make a show. And I think although there's improvisation, for me, it's not like a small jazz quartet where it can just go off on big jams. I think we like to really bring a big, powerful show more in line with your Fela Kutis and your James Browns and that kind of old school big band, big show energy. And have a lot of dynamic as well. There'll be some intimate moments, but there'll be a lot of time to just express yourself on the dance floor and really let loose. So yeah, we're super excited to bring the music, and we've got some amazing new music and some new members of the band as well. So it's kind of the start of a bit of a new chapter for us.
You had me at James Brown. Lovely. I'm just curious to know, what is the arrangement process like? For example, you just said, there's a horn section, percussion, and, there's obviously multiple vocals. How are they developed? Who writes the horn parts? Let's start with that.
It varies, but being a producer, as my income outside of the band and also what I studied at university, it's something that I've always been interested in arranging and playing different instruments. So although it is a collective and everyone's incredibly talented, it will often start with an idea of mine or perhaps an idea of someone else's, and then will be kind of produced as a demo. You know, the kind of classic way that artists in this day and age can have access to home recording setups. So you can kind of arrange things from home, whether it's with basic instruments or MIDI or different ways of arranging an idea. Yeah, so often it's me, but it is a mixture of the band as well. And there's some fantastic talent in the band, so I always try to make sure that we're utilizing that and picking from everybody's strengths, really.
All right. In terms of the albums, there was the debut album, and then Jungle Run and Freedom Fables were major milestones. What was different about making those records, Jungle Run and Freedom Fables, as opposed to your debut?
The debut was actually pretty much my final major uni project. So it was a lot of it was written and recorded for my uni submission. I mean, we spent a bit of time finishing it off afterwards in a studio that we built in rural Oxfordshire. But it was it was like a very naive record in a way. But at the same time, it was a time of our life where we had every hour of the day to put into music. So it's interesting as time goes on and you get more responsibilities in life. You have to be able to kind of achieve a record with less hours. And although I think perhaps we were naive, the amount of hours that went into the first album was like monumental. It was crazy because I was spending, like all of my time on it. And yeah, I think Jungle Run and Freedom Fables is where I felt like we really honed the craft and we had our own studio. I was honing my craft as a producer, producing a lot of other records as well. So I think that period was kind of really important for turning from a bit of a kind of uni band into something that's like a professional quality. Because it's a large project, it's obviously financially difficult. So we really just learned to do everything ourselves. I think over that time I was learning to produce and mix, but at the same time do the video edits and artworks and everything, just to find a way to make it work, because it's a labor of love. This is a passion project that we're lucky it's still going, but it's really something we do because we love the music, we love the art and the culture. So those albums were kind of polishing the craft, I think. And I mean, it's funny now, I've got 2 kids now, and one of them's 6 months old. So this album that I've just finished, I probably put like a tenth of the time into it, but hopefully because I've honed the craft that much, the music is still powerful. And yeah, I think it's interesting now. I think we've learned other lessons through life other than just making the music. I think now there's some deeper messages and some more political messages in the music than there used to be.
Well, if you ask me to pick, 3 songs off the bat, stuff from Nubiyan Twist that I've really loved, I would say Borders from Jungle Run.
Okay.
I'd say Hypnotize from the first album. And of course, the recent one, which is Chasing Shadows. I'm going to flip the question. I mean, is there a track or record or a couple of them, 3 of them, I don't know, that you would say represents the band's essence, Tom? Would you say that, these would these you can point out and say, you haven't heard Nubiyan Twist before, these are the ones?
I mean, I think there's kind of 3 pillars that we draw from a lot. And one of them is kind of Afrobeat and diasporic traditional African music. So maybe Chasing Shadows is quite a good example of that, with Fatimata Diawara. Another important pillar of the music is jazz. There's actually like a kind of lighter arrangement of a song called Workhouse we did on an EP called Workhouse Mode. which I still think is one of the most beautiful pieces of music we've ever created. It's very intimate, and I think kind of has that essence of the jazz tradition in a contemporary way there. And then the other side is kind of electronic hip hop and dance music. There's some stuff on the new album that people are going to hear actually that I feel like kind of sums that up, but I don't know, that's perhaps not so useful to you right now without access to that. But there's a track called They Talk featuring KOG, which is kind of like a very heavy dance tune. So yeah, for now, but it kind of changes every day. I fall in love with every new tune I'm making at the time, because it's always you're following the flow and the creative spark to new places. So but it's nice to go back to old material. So I appreciate the question.
All right. So who are you bringing with you to India? I know it's a large band, but will the central focus still be yourself, Tom? Maybe Nick Richards, the saxophonist, Nubia on vocals.
Nubia is not on vocals anymore.
Okay.
No, she left the band about 7 or 8 years ago now.
So who's on vocals now, and who are you bringing? Is it Pilo on percussion still?
No, he's also left the band about 3 years ago. So the lineup is we've got an amazing new young talented singer from London called Eniola. Mm-hmm. Who's featuring a lot on the next album, and she's going to be on the next album tour with us. So she's on vocals. I'm on percussion, guitar, and electronics. We've got Lewis Moody on keys, who runs Energy Exchange Records and produces lots of records. Finn Booth is the original drummer, one of my oldest friends. We got Luke Winter on bass, who's another original member from Leeds. And then, Nick Richards on vocals and alto sax. Dennis Scully on tenor sax, one of the hottest tenor players on the planet. We've got Hannah May Birtwell on baritone sax and Jonathan Enter on trumpet. And there's a lot of us that do BVs as well. So it's the full lineup of the current band, the current tour that we're doing, basically.
Your place within the current UK jazz, Afrobeat, soul revival, that scene is very important. People look at Nubiyan Twist being a band that is representative of those particular genres. I wonder if you watch or follow other bands in the scene as closely, artists that are doing UK jazz, Afrobeat, soul revival, and why do you appreciate a particular band or outfit or collective?
Yeah, I mean, we follow it all as much as we can. It's actually quite a small scene in the UK. It's a tiny island compared to India. So we see each other a lot on lineups and festivals, and it kind of cross pollinates a lot. We've kind of been doing it since the early days. There was definitely bands before us, like maybe Soothsayers, and a few other bands that were kind of doing Afrobeat in the UK, but not so much mixing it with electronics and sound system culture and kind of the modern jazz thing. So, I think we were right at the start of that. There was United Vibrations as well at the same time with Yusuf Days. And then from there, I've kind of seen a lot of the other well-known bands growing. We had Ezra Collective support us on I think it was Freedom Fables album launch. I produced a record for a band called Naria, which kind of grew into Kokoroko. Was a lot of the same musicians there. Joe Armand Jones is from Ezra Collective, is featuring on the next album. So it's a small scene. We all kind of know each other. Nabaya Garcia was in Naria as well. So it's, we all kind of follow each other's music. We try and support each other. And there's a whole ton of amazing stuff coming through as well. It's crazy to think when we started, there was less than a handful of bands mixing those styles, and now it's become such a thriving scene and such an amazing culture. and such a kind of proud export of this tiny little island. For some reason, we seem to be producing all of this music, which the world is kind of looking to and paying attention to, which is, it's. I feel extremely lucky to kind of be doing the music that I love at a time where it's kind of popular again, because obviously everything just goes around in a cycle, and like maybe this is just our moment for people who are into this kind of, whatever you want to call it, the UK jazz soul, revival. But I mean, for me, it's kind of always been there. I think it's just that people are focusing on it more now. There's always been, there was trip hop, and there was all sorts of stuff that came beforehand. I mean, even some of the like UK jungle and broken beat stuff, it's all kind of really similar to what's happening now. So I think I don't even know if I'd call it a revival, but it's like a boom. It's like people are really excited by it, and yeah, it's an absolute blessing to be able to share this music and to share the connection that it brings. The thing that's most important, I think, to us is hearing that connection and talking to people about how the music's helped them through difficult times, or it's been there for them through important times of joy in their life. So, I think that's really why we do it.
Now, I'm curious to know, when you're in the studio, do you capture live takes, or do you build tracks layer by layer? I mean, do you get a whole band in and jam together? I mean, you would need a large space for that, but just curious to know. Or is it a combination of the two?
It's a bit of a combination. Yeah, we try and do as much of it live together as possible. But it's like, unfortunately, it comes down to economics as well. Like, gone are the days of like a major label being like, here's $100,000, go and make a record. I mean, perhaps there's still a few artists that get that, but we haven't ever got that. And if we did, we'd be like, great, straight into Abbey Road or like some big studio. Like, we'd spend a day on each tune, cutting takes, or as long as you want to spend on it. But I think, given a lot of the economic constraints going on, and recessions and like inflation and all this crazy stuff, that people are struggling to buy their groceries, let alone like big studio fees. So we find we have to come into the studio with stuff very prepared, very written already from the demo stages, and there will definitely be like the minimum. It would be like rhythm section plus some soloists or horn guides or vocal guides, and then we might go back and redo the horns live all together, and then like overdub percussion and vocal layers and stuff like this.
All right. If you look at that Lollapalooza India 2026 lineup, there's you guys. It's a whole bunch of superstars like Linkin Park, Youngblood, Playboy Carti.
Yeah.
And then there's lots of other interesting bands. There's this band from Manchester called Hot Milk. And there's Mother, which is a band out of British Columbia in Canada. So I don't know, before your set, after your set, are there any bands or artists that you want to catch live at Lolla?
I mean, Linkin Park would just be crazy. Like, I would love to see them, just for the nostalgia, which I guess is the same for everyone, right? You want to hear some of those bangers. But it would be cool. I'm super open-minded. Like, we all love all music. We're really not like, this is the style that we do. We want to go and find similar bands. Like, we love everything. So I think we just want to experience the culture. Some of us are sticking around in India for like up to 2 months.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, we'd love to, obviously enjoy the festival, but also try and get out to Mumbai and engage with some of the community and the musicians there as well. So
that'd be awesome. So planning to travel into the north of India or the south of India?
I'm actually only staying for a couple of days because I've got 2 young kids at home. So I've got 2 days extra after the festival. So I mean, it doesn't really give me any time to travel, but some of the rest of the band are traveling around. I'm not sure which direction yet, but yeah.
Tom, you've collaborated with DJs, lots of them. Is there a collaboration that pushed you creatively with a DJ specifically? Because all the other stuff, the horn, the percussion is created sound. I mean, with the DJs and the samples, is there somebody interesting who pushed you?
You mean someone who's like remixed our tunes,
Yeah,
or?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Somebody who you brought in to build samples for you to build the DJ sound, that kind of stuff.
That's always been myself. That's kind of done that, and
Oh wow.
also the synth players as well. But yeah, because I studied production, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
all of the electronic side of things is all in house. It's all
Amazing.
mostly my own creations, and yeah, I work with the keyboard players with the synth layers as well. I mean, I have a lot of synths in my studio too, and samplers, and I love sampling. I think it's an amazing way of creating textures that you just, even though we've got like so many instruments in the band, there's something about the texture of a sample that's like, it's just different. So yeah, that's definitely something that I love from hip hop culture. And like I was saying, broken beat and UK jungle. I was a jungle producer in my early teens before going to university, like playing illegal raves around East Anglia in the UK. So I think all of that stuff that I thought perhaps was a misspent youth kind of turned into a useful skill in kind of bringing together that more DJ electronic sound into the band.
Mm. And there have been these interesting collaborations, like in 2019 for Jungle Run, you got the Ethiopian jazzman Mulatu Astatke,
Yeah,
and there's also Tony Allen, the Afrobeat drum legend,
yeah, on the same record.
on
Yeah,
the same record.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
must have been really interesting ones. Lots of learnings, eh?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think those were two big moments for us. Like we felt really validated in what we were doing, because it's like obviously there's a lot of consideration in playing music of different cultures and trying to do it the right way and make sure that we're doing it respectfully. But I think Tony and Malatu coming in and saying, "Guys, this is great. We love it. We want to work with you," was a huge moment of validation for all of us to kind of have their stamp of approval to say, this is something that they're excited by, and we were so proud to have them on the record. And you know like moving forwards from there, I mean, Fatimata as well, she's now at the forefront of that African music scene globally, pushing it into a kind of slightly more pop kind of global aesthetic. She's like right at the top there as well. So it's been an amazing journey. And I mean, there's been features. There was Pat Thomas as well on Freedom Fables, and like we've been so blessed with features. We really have. I mean, we've got some ridiculous ones on this next album as well, which is, I think it's probably a secret at the moment. Like, I wish I could tell you some of these names we've got. It's crazy.
The music videos, like I've seen the one for Chasing Shadows, which is amazing, and Tittle Tattle, which is almost, I don't know if it's Edwardian or Victorian.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. That
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
Yeah.
You did mention briefly at the top that you actually get into your own videos. Do you edit them? Do you shoot them? I don't know.
Less now because obviously being a dad, and like the business has progressed, so we've got an amazing team now, which we didn't have at the start. It's just like, I think sometimes people look in when you're at a level of relative success and they think, oh, I want to have that. I want to, like, when do I get a team of people doing stuff in these budgets? But it's like, actually, it was nearly 10 years of grafting and self-managing and doing our own. Back in the day, I was really, really hands-on with the video stuff, like, as were a bunch of us. But yeah, the editing and all of it. So it's definitely still something that I kind of, I think it's something I'd advise anyone starting out to try and learn as many skills as you can, because even if you get to a point where you can have a team of people doing these jobs, you have an understanding of how it all works. You can communicate better. You can get your ideas to flow better. So, it's like Chasing Shadows video, for example, was done on a shoestring with no time at all. But because I've had that experience of making so many videos over the years, we managed to self-record ourselves at home and pull it all together. And so it's amazing what you can do with creativity. And I mean, we live in an age where everyone has a smartphone that can film in 4K as well. It's crazy. So it's like it's nice to remember you don't need high budgets. Like sometimes we try and put some budget in and do a great video, but people are just consuming 5-second clips on social media or something now. So it's like it's a weird time for music videos.
Weird time for music videos is very well said. And the album designs, those covers are amazing. Some of them are very aboriginal, lots of color in them. So do you have a team doing that too?
Yeah, I think we've worked with a different artist for every album, actually, which is kind of, not that we've done that on purpose, but it's quite nice because each album has its own identity and sonics and kind of concepts behind it. And it's like, I guess each album sounds like Nubiyan Twist, but it's like a time stamp of a period of our lives. It tells the story of what we were all going through personally at those times. So I think there's something nice about having a different artist to make it unique and represent it. But yeah, there's a definite aesthetic, the color, like you say. I think it's colorful music, it's joyous music, although there's some serious messages within it. It is something that makes people think of color, makes people want to dance and feel happy. So I think that's definitely an important side to the covers. And actually this recent one, I'm really excited by the new album cover. It's like inspired by tarot and folkloric symbology, and there's a lot of symbology within the image that represents the lyrics and the meanings and the concepts of this kind of slightly dystopian technocratic AI age that we're entering, which is kind of what we're diving into a little bit on this latest album. And even my 3-year-old was staring at it for ages, being, oh look, there's a bird and there's a this and there's a flag, there's a yeah. So and it kind of references some older album covers as well. So yeah, it's fun. I love the multi-sensory side of art. It's like, for me, it's just exciting to be able to express yourself through visuals and through movement and through sound. I mean, smell is probably the only one we haven't explored yet. I did once see a band that had a smell technician who was creating like incense and different smells. So like one of the songs they played, it would smell sweet, and the next song would smell sour. It was amazing.
Listen, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate your time, Tom, and can't wait to see you in India.
Oh, we absolutely can't wait to. And thank you for taking the time and inviting me. And we're really, really excited to come and play our music. And it's a beautiful opportunity. We're so grateful for it.
Excellent. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, mate. Bye.
One world, your station.